Hello everyone, my name is Lowko and welcome back to another high-level match of StarCraft 2. What I've got for you today is a best of 5 series. That's the finals of the ESL Open Cup number 204 for the European region. Now based off of that introduction alone, you can probably already guess who's spawning right here in the top left-hand corner of the map. Playing with the red Protoss pieces, of course. We're looking at none other than MaxPax's main Nexus. His opponent in the top right, however, it's not Clem. Playing with the blue Terran SCVs, we have none other than HeroMarine. Why is Clem not in the finals this time around? In case you're unfamiliar, MaxPax and Clem, they've been facing off against each other in the finals of this weekly event basically every week over the last, I want to say 3-4 months or so. It's gotten to a point where it's kind of ridiculous. You'd imagine they would at the very least start facing each other in like the round of 8, maybe the round of 4, but it seems to be the finals every time. Why is Clem not playing? It turns out he didn't sign up. So I guess he had something that came up. He decided not to sign up for this particular ESL Weekly. He probably had a good reason, and I can imagine, well, HeroMarine has got a nice shot over here, right? So back in the day when the ESL Open Cup was first introduced, for like the first, I want to say 100 or so of them, so this is number 204. For the first 100 or so, HeroMarine won the vast majority. However, yeah, ever since MaxPax and Clem started playing in this weekly, and ever since MaxPax, I guess, got really freaking good at the game, it's been tough for HeroMarine. He still plays in quite a few of them, but he doesn't win them nearly as frequently as he once used to. MaxPax, as we make in this video, currently the highest ranked Protoss player in the world, and honestly, also the man who's been impressing me the most. I've fanboyed over MaxPax a lot in my previous couple casts, so I think I'll skip that this time around. But there's no denying that MaxPax really is ridiculously good. He's starting off right here with a Twilight Council opener. A lot of Terran players are still facing off against Phoenix-based builds, but honestly, I don't even remember the last time I've seen MaxPax play. Like, he doesn't really seem to favor Stargate play in general. Like, not really a lot of, well, not against Terran at the very least. Not a lot of Oracle shenanigans, just in general. He's really a big fan of going for that quick blink upgrade. It's good defensively, it's good offensively. So we do have a couple of units right now from the Terran player going into the main base. Looks like at the very least he's going to be able to get 2 probes. He's aiming for a 3rd. Not going to happen. Nice body blocking right there with that Adept. The other low HP unit, though, is now coming across the map. This one already had a bit of a skirmish with an Adept not too long ago. Reapers go into the main base, but ultimately, HeroMarine is going to be able to land this command center on the low ground, and this early game shenanigans, it has been shut down quite nicely. But not a bad start right here for the Terran player whatsoever. He decides to go into that quick Raven build that we've been seeing quite a bit as of late. So the Raven, despite the fact that it now needs to research the interference matrix ability, it's still a very popular tool. Even without the interference matrix, it turns out it's very handy when it comes to that early game defense. How many gateways do we have? Well, we're currently at 2. Number 3 is going to finish up momentarily. We also do have a robo facility on the back of this. As MaxPax, okay, decides to make a run for the quick 3rd base option over here. So this is not a double gate 3rd. This is a triple gateway start right here for Protoss. It's not the absolute fastest possible 3rd Nexus, but it is certainly a pretty greedy one here as he's decided to position it over at the golden minerals. Now this is going to be tricky here for HeroMarine, because with a triple gate start, Protoss, while not necessarily dealing critical game-ending amounts of damage, at least not usually, they can still end the game if Terran is not paying very close attention to their first units, right? So we will be seeing some of that Blink Stalker Prism juggling, I would imagine, as we do have actually double Observer first before a Prism. That's an interesting one. Would imagine we were going to go for a Prism here shortly. But anyways, he will be going into at least a little bit of aggression, and it's difficult for MaxPax, or sorry, for HeroMarine here to figure out that this is indeed a 3rd Nexus over at the Golden Minerals. Yeah, MaxPax is going to be able to get a nice boost in economy, already going for a shield battery here as well. Obviously, the Observer in the main base will provide high ground vision for MaxPax to go up there if he wants to. HeroMarine probably has noticed this little shimmer right over here as well, using that Reaper, but, well, the Reaper is going to have to pay the price. There's already a siege tank, though, in the main base. A couple Marines here misrelied. That's quite costly. Yeah, and ultimately, right, MaxPax doesn't really need to deal damage here. That's what I'm getting at. Like, this is one of those builds where it kind of looks like he's committed heavily into the aggression, but really, any damage right now is a bonus. Did he get a glimpse of that? Yeah, he did actually. Excellent scout for HeroMarine. So he did actually get a glimpse of that Nexus. Must have been with that Hellion who just, well, sacrificed itself for the Terran Dominion. +1 infantry weapons coming up. We have the Stimpack, the combat shields, and all the rest of it here building and researching right now here too for HeroMarine. Not until those upgrades are really all done, though, can he go for a move out, right? And the question is, will he be able to go up against a Protoss player with this good an economy? There is a good position here for the Terran to attack this base, so getting siege tanks up on this ledge would be absolutely amazing, but it's a pretty far walk from the Terran side of the map. Alright, it might be time, though, to head on over in that direction right now. Stimpack already being utilized. Uncharacteristic mistake right here from MaxPax. Loses 2 Stalkers, maybe even a 3rd, and that's because he's busy over here inside of his main base. Alright. Looks like ultimately he does shut this down. Stalkers here slowing down this, pushing army here as well. Alright, 2 Stalkers. I think we can write that up to just a little bit of multitasking right there. In the meantime, Zealots going up into the main base of the Terran player too. What MaxPax is trying to do at this point is just buy as much time as possible. The more time he buys, the better this is going to be for him, right? Because obviously at this point he's got more income than the Terran, and he's going to be able to outgrow the Terran here very handily as well. No 3rd CC on the back of this here just yet for the Terran, so he is very committed to shutting this down. +1 ground weapons is finishing up in just a few seconds from now. Okay, charge of course already done. It looks like MaxPax wants to collapse on top of his army, and indeed does decide to do it. No aggressive blink forward or anything along those lines. He does try to shut down the siege tanks, and he gets them eventually. Excellent cleanup right here by the Danish Protoss. And this is now a bit of a disaster right here for HeroMarine. Yeah, now finally the 3rd command center starts up. MaxPax has full vision of it too, so he sees exactly what he's playing against. In the meantime though, once again, that Raven being very obnoxious, already getting 5 kills in. This is what I was talking about earlier, still very handy, but maybe it is about time we go for the interference matrix research, because Colossi are hitting the battlefield here very, very soon. I was gonna say, I thought I already saw one on the production tab earlier. There is, as a matter of fact, already one out onto the field. Ranged upgrade, not yet done. So it's not like... Yeah, it's not like MaxPax can just push in here at this point. He also has to be very careful, because pushing into a turtled up Terran like this is not easy. 1 Zealot, 2 Zealots, 3 Zealots actually here in total. Just trying to be as obnoxious as possible. Prism at the very least is still around. Very low hit points, but at the very least it's got above, well, 0 I guess, which is the main goal for Protoss. Alright. One thing to note though is that yes, MaxPax is in a good spot here, but it's not necessarily a game-winning position either. HeroMarine has already been over-making SCVs for the bases that he's got, so as soon as the 3rd base does land, either over here or over here on the right side, he's gonna be able to transfer SCVs and get some very stellar economy. Obviously, HeroMarine also dealt some damage to the Protoss player on the other side of the map, despite losing his army. 2nd Colossus now shows up over here as well on this side of the map. It's mostly just Marauders here at the front. Colossi deal very good damage against Marines, but pretty horrible against everything else. Okay, well, they have a lot of range though, and this is tricky. Yeah, how do you break this right now as a Terran player? Prism once again, gonna fly into the main base. Colossi a little overexposed. One of them ends up getting sniped. A couple of small errors right here from the Danish Protoss, and that may very well cost him dearly, as the 2nd Colossus, as well as the Marauder, or sorry, the Immortal, as well as the Prism and the Zealots, all of it falls. Alright, well that's exactly what HeroMarine needed. He decides to load up his medevacs full of units right away. Protoss units are sitting at the watchtower, and it looks like MaxPax will get a glimpse right here of this medevac drop. He intercepts a couple of the Zealots at the very least, I guess, so that's decent. Zealots over in the natural expansion will also get cleaned up. In the meantime, though, over on the left side of the map, we've had MaxPax taking as many bases as possible. The golden minerals and the high-yield Vespian Geyser, they will run out in the next 5 minutes or so, so he's gonna have to continuously expand. 3rd CC at this point is well and done, of course, for HeroMarine. He is going to be able to transfer tons of his workers straight on over in that direction. And honestly, it might just be time to go straight into a 4th CC as well. Small mistakes right there from MaxPax, though. Not quite as on point on the micro as we normally see him being. I mean, obviously, I'm being very critical here. Mostly just because I'm comparing MaxPax to the MaxPax I see play most of the time. And you'll be hard-pressed to find a game where MaxPax has given up a couple Stalkers to a bunch of random Marines, right? Or a couple Marauders that are pushing across the map. And yeah, where he accidentally does not micro the Colossus. It's gonna make this game hard. Yeah, at this point, HeroMarine is, well, 20 supply up on his opponent. He's got a decent economy once again. Yep. I mean, yeah, it's a slippery slope, right? When those mules mine, the income is great for Terran, but when they don't, it gets a little bit tricky. Alright. Right now is the time to go into the Ghost Academy. Ghost Academy is an excellent choice against, well, essentially any Protoss unit composition, albeit not one that's really mandatory against the one that we have over here. MaxPax moving up north. He wants to go after those Medevacs. He wants to, yeah, grab this entire army, blinks forward, snipes the last Medevac, and I think that's going to be the end of this particular force. In the meantime, though, there's also a push over here at the bottom of the map. That was a really rough loss right there, though, for HeroMarine. Probably wanted to fly those units towards the other side of the map, but MaxPax sniffed that out perfectly. This observer actually providing him a bunch of vision of that location on the map. We still have double research here as well for the upgrades. No +2 started up yet for HeroMarine, which is really going to bite him in the butt, as Protoss is finishing up, well, +1 armor here and starting up the +3 ground attacks. Dark Templar, Disruptors, Colossi, all of the high tier units here are still coming. I think MaxPax needs to be careful. He doesn't push in here. There's really no reason for him to push. I think he's mostly just trying to create some chaos. Right now, you will see no 4th command center just yet. Big Zealot warp in, by the way, in the main base. Looks like at the very least this Viking managed to get rid of what may have been its 2nd prism. Couple good force fields over here as well at the front. Not a lot of Stalkers available, though, to shield against those Vikings. Okay, Zealots ultimately do pull that entire army back. Yeah, those MaxPax Zealot run-bys are really helping him out here. Dark Templar moving in too. Okay, it's actually 13 SCVs that just fell. One Ghost ends up dying. Dark Templar decides to run away. Okay. All of this, though, is just to buy time. MaxPax's economy is still substantially better. He's already thinking about making another base. Honestly, a 6th Nexus against 3 base Terran is absurd. I really don't think that's what you should be making here, but he's certainly thinking about it. I think what MaxPax's goal should be right now is just to shut down this Terran army, because there's very little reinforcement potential here for HeroMarine. But I guess in MaxPax's mind, he can do both. Yeah, he's got Colossi, he's got Disruptors. What in the world are you gonna do here as the Terran? Well, this is an army that certainly packs a punch. One Colossus ends up going down. 2nd Colossus falling very low as well, and it will fall there in the end. Most of the Vikings, at the very least, are still up alive in the sky as well, but the Stalkers have been working away at them. Yeah, this is the moment, though, where Protoss is completely transitioning away. So we do have, once again, a bunch of Zealots going in. They are completely transitioning away from Colossus, so we're going completely into Disruptors at this moment. That means that those Vikings will not really find a lot more usefulness moving forward. Disruptor here going around the side. A lot of that bio army right now, though, cornered. He's fighting this army into 2 different locations. HeroMarine trying to split up the units here to the best of his abilities, but I don't think that fight was quite optimal for him. He comes up with another EMP on the leftover Zealots right there on the right side, but I think he's lost a little bit too much. And despite MaxPax making a bunch of mistakes, he still comes out ahead in this game, and it's indeed the Protoss player who wins a game number 1. Tough loss right there for HeroMarine. Yeah, it's one of the issues, right? When you're forced to play on the map Equilibrium, your opponent's economy is just so strong. If they do decide to take the quick golden minerals, and well, maybe it's something that HeroMarine is gonna approach a little bit differently next time around. Keep in mind that he ended up getting, well, at least a little bit lucky, right? In MaxPax's mind right there, I'm sure he's pretty upset with the fact that he donated a few of his very important units there. If that wouldn't have happened, I think it would have been a landslide victory for the Protoss. Anyways, game number 2, we find ourselves on the map Hecate. This is a map where you can generally expend a little bit easier, I guess. You don't really have to worry about golden minerals. You don't really... I guess there's golden minerals over here at the bottom and the top left as well, but... yeah, I found the difference between like a regular base and a base like this. So this is a new introduction for the very first time in StarCraft 2's history. So these bases have half golden minerals and then half regular minerals. I'm personally, like, it looks pretty, right? But I'm personally not a huge fan of it. It doesn't really seem to achieve much. It's nice, I guess, but it's high risk, decent reward, if that makes any sense. It's just not really something that is really worth considering in the earlier stages of the game, at the very least. I have not yet seen a player really rushing out this base because of those golden minerals. I guess you could technically micro your workers to force them onto the golden mineral fields, but it doesn't really seem to be worth your time. Anyhow, because of that, I expect if we do see a similar game once again, that things will go a little bit smoother, though, for HeroMarine. Gonna go for the quick command center once again on the low ground. I believe previously he built it in a main base, but this is a single gas start right here for HeroMarine. So no Reaper. As a matter of fact, no scouting here for the Terran player whatsoever. Turns out it's gonna be okay. Nothing all too crazy here on the side of the Protoss. I would like to see some Stargate-based openers from MaxPax, but he really has leaned away from those entirely. He plays it all the time against Zerg, but against Terran, it seems like Twilight Council, like, yeah, I wanted to say 9 out of 10 games, but it's probably closer to, like, 95 out of 100 games. Rarely see we, do we see him, transition towards a Stargate in a regular macro game. He does it, I guess, when he's in some trouble, you know, when the game gets a little bit finicky, it's difficult to see exactly what's going on. Sure, Stargate opener, not a bad choice, but the risk of this opener is that it becomes too predictable. But I guess the micro potential, right, is really good. Okay. Not getting the kill right there on the SCV actually does kind of suck. Nice movement right there. Okay, he does end up getting it in the end, but the CC has already finished. And he saves the Adept. Big save right there, actually, for MaxPax. Kills an SCV. Doesn't really have to pay for anything. Anyways, it's most important right here for HeroMarine that he finishes up that command center on the low ground so he can morph it into an orbital command. This is, of course, a quick expand right here for HeroMarine, so he's going to be able to, make use of that timing that the command center is going to be around for as well. Every second that the CC, the orbital command right here, is around for, you're going to accumulate more and more energy, and, well, the more mules you land, the bigger your economy is going to be over the course of the game. So, not a bad start right here for HeroMarine, despite losing that one worker. The real question is, how much damage can the Twilight Council Blink upgrade really deal on the other side of the map? We're once again going to go into triple gateway together with a robotics facility, so basically an identical build. Looks like we decided to shade forward over here with the Adepts. So that's 2 Adepts for 2 Marines. Okay, fair enough. That would make me feel as a Terran player like this could be a Stargate style. Matter of fact, drop coming in right now. He sees the amount of Stalkers, so you can probably deduce here that this is not going to be a Stargate opener, but yeah, when you have most of your Marines on the other side of the map, right, and you have no anti-air, I mean, this would be the moment, full wall in, by the way, where an Oracle would be showing up, and it could be a disaster. So HeroMarine taking some chances here. Looks like Jimmy, there was no room in the plane for him. So he will end up getting shut down. Love the full wall in right here, by the way, from MaxPax. He knew that the odds of the opponent pushing with both Marines as well as these Hellions, they were pretty big. And yeah, I guess if you have a Prism, you have an option to ferry the units out of your base pretty easily. You can obviously kill this as well eventually. There we go. We're going to start shutting it down right now. I guess it's identical to losing 2 workers, right? The cost? Maybe even a little bit less because of the mining time. Anyways, how much damage can the Protoss player deal here with the Stalkers in the main base? Well, there is a siege tank available. Only just 1. Stalker has gone down already. I love that little auto turret positioning over here. Problem is, if the siege tank is gone, then the Stimpack upgrade will not be too far behind. MaxPax decides to split up his units over here. He's also forced to defend on the other side in the meantime, but third Nexus does come up. Yeah, he wants to get that he wants to get that Stimpack upgrade really badly, because slowing that down, any Terran build, it really pivots onto that particular upgrade. I don't think he's going to get it, though. Second siege tank right now in position. Nice defense right there by HeroMarine. Robotics Bay on the back it is. Stimpack is going to finish up in maybe a half minute, 45-ish seconds or so from now. Second siege tank has now been ferried on down towards the low ground. Very good repositioning right there as well by the German Terran. Gets another Stalker for his troubles. Okay. You gotta respect it. Yep. You really have to respect the Stalker push. This isn't even the most committed version of it, right? So like I said, this is just triple gateway, but with 4 gates, imagine like another extra round of Stalkers here. It's very finicky. Then they can start jumping on top of the siege tanks, you lose your upgrades. Life gets very, very difficult, but luckily for MaxPax, or I guess luckily for HeroMarine rather, MaxPax has been training Terrans over the last year to get much better when it comes to defending Stalker aggression in the earlier stages of the game, so we don't really see the 4-gate blink opener win that many games. At least not by itself, straight up. Alright, Stimpack is done. That's of course the moment at which Terran can start roaming the map a little bit more comfortably. Observer still in a good spot here though. He sees that Terran is not going to be pushing across the map, so this is a-okay. Colossi coming. 5 additional gateways will finish up here momentarily. Charge upgrade as well. +1 ground weapons coming up. I mean, I really do like the way that MaxPax is playing these games in general. Just strategically, it makes so much sense. It's just that you... Oh no, don't lose the Raven for free. That's actually a pretty tanky unit. Losing the Raven would suck though. But yeah, it's just such a rigid approach, you know? It doesn't really seem like it's got any particular weaknesses. Like sometimes when build orders become predictable, the opponent can start hard countering it, but against proper blink Stalkers, I'm not even entirely sure what you would do. Like you'd imagine, yeah, just hard counter it, bro. Like what are you gonna do? Well, a medevac drop towards the main base can certainly be really nice. Zealots in the meantime going to town on the side of the Terran as well. Triple medevac drop into the main base while pushing over here at the 3rd Nexus as well. If HeroMarine can get a kill on that 3rd Nexus, that would be amazing for him. The entire Protoss army has been distracted, and that means, yeah, that the Bio army over here at the 3rd base is going to be in a phenomenal spot. Boom. 30 probes end up going down. No reason to go back, HeroMarine. I was going to say, there's 0 reason to go back into the main base. You'd just be risking it. If you lose these medevacs, there's a chance that the Protoss counterattack is going to kill you. By the way, in the meantime, MaxPax has been setting up copious amounts of pylons all over the map just to see incoming drops like that, but I guess they were a little bit too late. Alright. MaxPax has essentially been forced into a 1-base, well, not a 1-base, I guess it's a 2-base all-in. 1.5-ish. He doesn't have a lot of saturation there anymore. He's also not remaking any probes. The only thing he's making currently is a prism. And I guess we're gonna go into a Templar Archives. Okay, good force fields over here. Slices a bunch of Marines and Marauders away from the pack. Stalker blink. Good blink. Very nice blink. 2 of the Widow Mines here are likely to fall. And blink. Cute play. Gets the final kill. This is a scary attack though. Like, Terran is in a phenomenal spot right now. 3rd CC and whatnot is done, but he needs to be very cautious. Because this is 68 Protoss army supply with a warp in on the horizon. He's actually gonna try and push in here. Getting the... Oh, that was bait. Yeah, that prism was absolute bait. Oh, aggressive blink forward right here. He gets 1 of the siege tanks, 2nd one of the siege tanks. Ends up going down as well. Keep in mind, we have a Templar Archives. A couple Archons here in the mix would be really good. HeroMarine losing those tanks, though, is very, very painful. He doesn't have a lot of units remaining anymore. Just 15 Marines? Well, make that as many as every time the Colossus fires. I mean, we see the Marine numbers dwindling right there on the units tab. Ay, 22 SCVs have gone down. I think MaxPax just managed to pull a rabbit out of a hat. That prism, I want to say, I don't know if it was a mistake, but I want to say that that was purposefully sieged up in a position where MaxPax was baiting the opponent to come and get it. 2 back-to-back painful losses for the biggest of games. Game number 1, he got outplayed. Game number 2, he honestly threw away a win. Now we find ourselves on the map Solaris. I don't think we're really gonna see a whole lot of variety coming out of MaxPax, but HeroMarine is thinking about maybe building a barracks on the other side of the map or something. I'm not exactly sure. He's been spotted though. That scouting probe right here from MaxPax saw the SCV going across the map. Now I guess we're gonna go for an engineering bay block just to try and be as obnoxious as possible. Yeah, that's really the only thing that makes sense here. Okay, well, he's still going to be able to get it done. The fact that MaxPax isn't even trying to prevent this from happening, though, is kind of interesting to me. Because he did definitely see that SCV. But he's like, nah, whatever. Yeah, he's sending the probe a bit early. I would have liked to see him send it even earlier than, well, the timing at which he moved it. So this is just here to try and be as annoying as possible, right? So the idea behind this for Terran is that they never actually finish the structure, so you don't actually want to finish it. You want to build it up until like 99%, so it's got as much HP as possible, and then you can cancel it and get the majority of your investment back. And hopefully, at least in theory, that will slow down the Protoss. MaxPax has decided to do the Zerg thing, right? Where when his expansion gets blocked in Protoss versus Zerg, Zergs usually will end up taking their third base as their very first expansion. That's now what MaxPax is doing against Terran as well. Okay. It's much easier for Zerg, though, to take that base, because Zerg units in general are much quicker, especially when they do finish up their link speed upgrade, right? Maybe the Queens have a hard time defending the bases, but... Anyways, none of that is relevant for this particular matchup, but it does make the game a little bit more tricky, right? Because where do you position your army? Say this is going to be like Hellion Reaper play again. How in the world do you decide where you want to build your units? Like, do you build them over here? Do you position them over here? Do you put them in the main base? Do you split them up? Like, what exactly is the right call for Protoss? Well, I'm assuming this is going to be a Twilight Council again. It's another gateway for now. Fair enough. We will have the resources, though, to go into a Twilight Council here momentarily. But maybe it's going to be a Stargate opener. Second Adept. Gonna be handy here. First Adept has decided to go across the map. No tech choice just yet for MaxPax. Instead, he's just going triple gateway. Straight triple gateway. You know, slowing down his expansion would be really neat, yeah. So the command center is positioned in such a way that it blocks any units from going in, but it's also not really in a position where it can easily be defended. Okay. MaxPax may just be thinking about going mass gateway. Just no upgrades at all, just mass gateway unit. Losing the Adept would really be a tough start, but he does keep it alive. Adept sneaking all the way towards the top left-hand corner. There's the Stimpack upgrade coming up, and there's finally the Twilight Council 2. Okay, so Chrono boosting out the Warp Gate research. Triple gateway is done. Perfect timing right here by MaxPax. He doesn't have an easy way to reinforce units on the other side of the map, but I think he's just gonna make a whole lot of Stalkers? Maybe Adept? Yeah, okay. Reaper coming around the side here. We'll see the Adept warp in, but look at MaxPax. Look at him trying to hide a couple units there. He did not want to show any more information than he absolutely needed to. Reaper is not going to be able to get the follow-up scout in, and that means that these Adepts on the other side can start shading around. I would love to see a bunker right now. Yeah, it's a lot of Marines. Yeah, maybe it's okay. Well, oh, not lifting the depots. Yeah, they're definitely gonna commit. He sees the follow-up right here. It's double upgrades for HeroMarine. Stimpack and combat shields on the back of this. Just distracting those SCVs, though. Keep in mind, this is not a lot of Terran economy. One of the problems you run into with an engineering bay block is that you actually slow down your own economy as well. So it's nice to deal some eco-harassment on the other side, but you're also dealing eco-harassment to yourself, I guess. There's a lot of SCVs going down. Oh, Stalkers here poking at the front as well. And this is just the first layer to a multi-layered attack here for MaxPax. There's the Robo facility positioned at the third base, so a Prism, an Observer, whatever he produces out of it is going to spawn closer to the battle. Stimpack is done, though, at this point. Well, 1 second from now. MaxPax needs to make sure he gets out of there. Look at this. He doesn't know the timing. He doesn't know the timing at which combat shields and Stimpack finish up. But I guess he may have had a glimpse right there of the combat shields on those Marines. He's like, you know what? I'm backing off. That's critical because he doesn't have Blink yet. He would not be able to go back home with those Stalkers. I would love to see concussive shells actually here for HeroMarine, but maybe that's just me. Now finally, by the way, a factory is coming up. Every stim that HeroMarine activates is going to cost him a big chunk of his own hit pool as well. We do have a battery overcharge here as a potential. There it goes. Super handy. Ay, ay, ay. MaxPax. Leave some for the rest of us, man. Also, can you please play offline tournaments? Thank you. Thank you, MaxPax. I know I say that every single cast, but like that would be really sick. Thank you. This guy's a real deal. Expending behind it. We don't actually have a way to easily reinforce here, but these Marines are in a world of trouble. Keep in mind that there's no siege tanks, right? This is just Marines, Marauders, and Stimpec. So bunkers are very handy. But only 4 units, maybe 3 units, can fit inside one of them at a time. Yeah, what impresses me the most about MaxPax is he doesn't really take any chances. He rarely takes chances. So he could have decided to go for an all-in, but instead he's like, no, I expand. And maybe he could have finished the game, but it's probably not the best choice. It leaves room for interpretation, I guess, right? Like, it leaves room for you to make mistakes on the other side of the map, and if you were to make a mistake, suddenly the game is no longer playable. So, yeah, a safe third base here instead, not a bad idea. Another problem here is that HeroMarine doesn't know about it, right? So you can keep blinking these Stalkers back and forth. The Stalker ball is growing. The Marine army, however, is dropping HP. Shields, of course, will regenerate, but without Medivacs, you can't heal up these units. Now, Medivacs are on the production tab. MaxPax decides to put his foot on the gas over here as well for just a little bit longer. Beautiful Stalker control right here, coming out of the Dane. And this base is in a world of trouble. Now the SCVs are starting to fall. Economical advantage was already in favor of Protoss. Honestly, brilliant stuff. Really, really well done. Okay. Concussive shells will finish up. This can still go really horribly south here for MaxPax if he stops blinking the way that he has been blinking here over the last couple of minutes, but he's already thinking about making another base. He's playing against 2 CC Terran. He's like, yeah, you know what I need? Twice as many bases. Excellent. Not blinking up towards the high ground here either, by the way, because that would put his blink on cooldown. Stimpec activated once again, now with Medivacs available. Okay, HeroMarine is feeling just ever so slightly more bold. Picking up some of the weakened units as well, you'll love to see it. Oh, I thought for a second this was another probe moving all the way down south, but no, this is just an observer here to see any Medivac drops coming in. Medivac drop with Widow Mines. I don't know if he noticed the move out here, but he's gonna see it. It's so sick. It genuinely is. How many games do I cast like this where Terran still wins because they didn't see, Protoss that is, a Widow Mine drop coming in? It happens too frequently, right? Alright, well, maybe it can still work out. No, not gonna happen. Both of the mines get shut down. Medivac gets killed as well. That's like another 8 supply or so. Maybe 6 supply down the drain right here for HeroMarine. And we're not really at the stage yet where Protoss is heavily starting to outgrow him. Yeah, now we're going for 4 probes at a time. We're going Robo Bay. We're doing all of the right moves. HeroMarine has effectively been forced into a 2-base all-in right now. He's been soft-contained on just 2 bases. You know what? This may just be too greedy economically, though, here for MaxPax. Yeah, that Immortal also a little bit caught too far forward. But MaxPax does this where he cuts it too close for my liking. I really didn't think he needed another base. Just 3 base, just being a full base ahead on the Terran would be more than enough. I've seen him get into this position many times where I'm starting to feel a little uncomfortable, but Zealot's over here distracting, buying as much time as possible. At this point, he's effectively doubling his opponent's income. So any minute that goes by, the Protoss army will heavily outgrow the Terran. All he really needs to do is hold this attack. Purification Novas, by the way, through the speed zones. One of the most terrifying things a man can play against. Okay, good control right here, though, by HeroMarine. Yep. Not gonna take too much damage from that Nova. 9 SCVs in the meantime have gone down. Big Zealot warp in over here as well. A couple of the Protoss units have gone down. Medivac, though, falls as well. Another Medivac gets sniped out of the skies. And ultimately, I kind of feel like HeroMarine here is bleeding dry. Like, he's being choked out. Couple more Zealots here are being warped in. MaxPax has got a lot of money in the bank. We'll see another big warp in. There it is. That's gonna drop the resources down. And his supply count once again goes up. Supply-wise, this is not a horrible situation right now for HeroMarine. Mostly because he's got such a big army still, right? It's just, even if this base falls, and honestly it may, Yeah, this is actually pretty dang good work right here by HeroMarine rather. But even if this base falls, he's still a base behind. So like best case scenario, you lose. Okay, best case scenario I guess is MaxPax disconnects or something. I don't know. Yeah, it's too greedy. I think MaxPax sometimes finds himself playing a little bit too greedy, right? Obviously he's dealing with, well, incomplete information, right? That's what I'm thinking of. He's dealing with incomplete information, so he doesn't really know exactly if there is a third CC hiding somewhere. Not the case in this game at all, so he may have made the assumption that this was triple CC Terran, and against triple CC Terran, you cannot need a fourth. He's making another base. Max, can you just warp in non-stop units, please? All really that needs to be done here is clean up these units, okay? If this army here from the Terran dies, I think it's game over. Extended Thermal Lance is going to finish up momentarily. Robo Facility coming up too. Zealots once again going in for the counterattack. I guess HeroMarine could fly the command center on down towards the low ground. Instead, right now though, what he's flying into is the main base of the Protoss. He wants to try and see if he can deal critical amounts of damage, but he's doing this right as that Colossus gets its ranged upgrade. Okay, Widowmine's getting a good bit of damage done. 13 probes have already gone down. Stalkers blink forward. They go after the Medevac. 2 of them have gone down just now over the last couple of seconds. More reinforcing Stalker showing up. HeroMarine decides to make like a crazy attack towards the base. Recall of, okay, whatever units he can muster on over towards that 4th base over here on the left side too. Reinforcing Marines and Marauders though, and Mines showing up in the center. Where is HeroMarine's money coming from, man? We're 13 minutes into it and he's still reinforcing what seems to be a really large Terran army. Okay, good Widowmine connections over there as well. Looks like the Medevacs right now, though, have decided to evacuate this location. Colossus hitting over the little crevice. Maybe a little overly ambitious right there by Mr. Colossus, but... okay, chasing down these units. Yeah, and ultimately, this is still 2-base Terran. Definitely the best game right here from HeroMarine, though. Well, yeah, no, I do think he's played this one very well. It's just that the fights have not been going his way ever since the Stalkers went across the map. Either way, it's MaxPax who wins the ESL Open Cup 3-0 in the Grand Finals.